Good afternoon, folks. This is Bob from Daily Enduring Truth, here with you again with my weekly message. I'm here by a local lake, which is used for birds. There's lots of birds there. They call it the bird pond. You may be able to see something in the background. We got turtles in there. I did it because Jesus, again, took time to walk by the seaside in today's story when we look at Mark 3. And I like to get into that area where the kind of place that Jesus was. Obviously, this is a much smaller area than the Sea of Galilee. But before we go again, I want to deal with the times we're living in. I'm reminded of the ancient Roman who said, "O times, O customs, O tempora, O mores." And he had the same attitude that many of us have today. What's happening in our world today? And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of bad things happening in our world today, but what we don't see is a lot of good things happening. And so I want you to look for the good things that are happening, and I want you to find a way to make good things happen in your own life. Find a way to help somebody. Find a way to extend an arm across the aisle of people who may be a little bit different from you, from people who think differently than you, and learn from some other people. It's interesting to see how people that I know that grew up pretty much the same way look at the same instance with completely different eyes. And you know, that's not too different from the story today, because Jesus probably had pretty much carte blanche to do what he wanted to do in Jerusalem and Judea, in the area around there in Galilee. They let him do anything he wanted, but we always see problems on the Sabbath. Why? Because the Sabbath was the one day you weren't supposed to do anything, any kind of work. They had all kinds of limits to take care of the Sabbath and to make sure you protected the Sabbath. And as I mentioned in the past, one of the reasons is because one of the problems the Jews saw as being the reason for their exile was the fact that they had not observed the Sabbath and not honored the Sabbath. And when you look at the Old Testament, you see that going throughout. So these rules governing the Sabbath were important because they helped keep the Jews in the box, so to speak, of where they were supposed to be in relationship to God. And so we come across to something like that, and then we see Jesus. And it seemed like, first of all, Jesus didn't stop loving, Jesus didn't stop caring, Jesus didn't stop healing on the Sabbath. We see he starts off going to the synagogue. Where was he on the Sabbath? He was going to be in the synagogue. He was going to be teaching. He was going to be sharing. And when the need arose, he was going to be healing. And in the story today, we had a man with a withered hand. And according to some of the stuff that I read, the way it's written in the Greek, and I'm not a Greek scholar, the way it's written in the Greek, the man had a hand that was withered because of an accident or an illness. Now, there's an interesting part there where Jesus looks at him and at the people there who were waiting for him to respond to this man with the withered hand. And he was saying, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath or to do evil? And when Jesus said that, I really think what he was saying is doing nothing would be doing evil, which is a good lesson for our time today. But when they didn't respond, Jesus was angry. I think they were trying to set him up, and Jesus set them back up with that question. And he healed on the Sabbath and got people so mad that the Herodians and the Pharisees got together. Folks, that didn't happen in ancient days. They were so mad at Jesus, anybody would get together in the religious elite to go ahead and take him down. We see later on that Jesus went by the lake. Again, that's the second part of the story, and that the Sea of Galilee, and he healed and he taught. And finally, the crowds were so great, the crowds were coming from all over, he needed to get in the boat to make sure that they just didn't overrun him. And then the last part, we see him choosing his disciples. It's an amazing story, again, of how Jesus works in this world. And it's a reminder to us that we need to work in this world. And I want to ask you, in dealing with the problems of our world, is it lawful to do good or to do evil? And I would submit to you that all the time we should be doing good. We should be showing the love and the grace of God to a world in need. So, there you have it. That's the message for today, and I'll see you next week.